Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Maddie here, and guess what? The next mini set coming to Pokemon Pocket has been officially announced. Crimson Blaze B1A is coming December 17th. Very exciting. I believe it's December 17th. Very exciting. They announced a bunch of awesome new cards. We're going to break it all down here. Crimson Blaze, here is the logo. Very excited. Yes, December 17th. I'm sure you guys have already seen the trailer. We're not going to go ahead and watch it, but we're going to break down all of the cards that were teased, and I'm going to provide some context as it pertains to the competitive side of Pokemon Pocket. We're going to analyze these cards. I'm going to share my opinions, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some information that you maybe don't already know, and hopefully open up your minds a little bit about the potential for the future of, the next season of Pokemon Pocket and the competitive aspect of things. Let's dive right into it. Before we do that, though, you got to go register for Pocket Mad's Pocket Tournament number 12. It is the last tournament of the season. I would heavily recommend it. December 13th, Saturday at noon. It's going to be a whole lot of fun in just a couple of days. I would heavily recommend it. Let's dive right into this. So, clearly the three Pokemon that the set is kind of based around are going to be Mega Charizard Y, Mega Venusaur, and Mega Blastoise. Now, this is interesting, right? Because, they're kind of going all in on like the Kanto starter Mega Pokemon, right? And there's a lot of Mega Pokemon. I kind of expected them maybe to do this in like its own full set. However, since this is a mini set, we're likely going to be getting like 60 to 70 brand new cards. And these three Mega Pokemon that they revealed coming in this mini set are likely the only three Mega Pokemon we will be getting. Now, that's not confirmed, not confirmed, but it is somewhat likely going to be getting these three Mega Pokemon and then three non-Mega EX Pokemon in the pack, and then a bunch of other Pokemon. So keep that in mind. These are all three Stage 2, EX Pokemon. We will be playing more Rare Candy. At least that's what it seems. We'll break that down in a little bit. So keep that in mind. These are likely the only Megas that we're going to be getting. They did showcase Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and they showcased a bunch of other cards and trainer cards as well. Pretty exciting. So let's break these all down. Let's just dive right into it. The first up is going to be Mega Charizard Y. So they're going to be holding on to Mega Charizard X, I suppose, which in my mind is sort of the more popular version of Mega Charizard, at least in my opinion. Mega Charizard Y, here we go. 220 HP, so starting off already as the highest HP, or one of the highest. I think it's the highest HP Pokemon in the game. Or at least this would be, right, if it was released right now. I think Blaziken and Ampharos both have 210. Am I wrong about that? I could be wrong. Maybe Ampharos has 210. I kind of forget. Anyway, 210 HP Fire-type Stage 2 Pokemon, and it has just simply one attack. In fact, all of these Mega Pokemon don't have any abilities or secondary attacks. They just have one attack. So they're keeping this very simplistic theme with the Mega Pokemon and what they do. They're just big Pokemon that do big damage. That's sort of the whole theme here with Mega Pokemon. None of them have had abilities yet. However, that might change moving forward. So Mega Charizard Y, Crimson Dive, 250 damage, guys. 250 for 4 fire energies and 1 colorless, but it also does 50 damage to itself. So 220 HP. If we slap a giant cape on this thing, that's 240. And after we attack with Crimson Dive 250, we will be taking 50 damage and then theoretically going to 170 or 190 if we have a cape. And that's pretty relevant. I think that this is going to be just sort of a direct comparison to Genetic Apex Charizard EX that came out when Pokemon Pocket was released, which basically at the time, was able to KO every Pokemon in the game back then with 200 damage. Now, Mega Pokemon, some of them are above the 200 HP threshold. So this Charizard here is sort of the spiritual successor of the Genetic Apex Charizard. However, it doesn't discard any energies. It does damage to itself, which in my mind is actually a stronger effect. Once we get like 3 or 4 energies on Charizard, we can bring it up, attach to it, and then just hit and hit and hit and probably win the game. Now, this card, I think, will be relevant. If anybody's curious, and I know the comment sections down below are going to think that these Mega Pokemon are underwhelming. That's always the case because they lack context and they lack like the overall exposition of like the deck lists in which these cards will be played in. So please definitely keep an open mind until we get the full set list. There's also something that I think you guys probably may not realize, which I'll get into later, that's going to make all of these, these new Mega Pokemon probably a little bit stronger than they look at first glance. But 250 damage is relevant. And I think the whole concept here is that if you do get Mega Charizard Y online, this is a Pokemon that is effectively going to be be able to force you to not ever bring in your Mega Pokemon, right? So this is going to be a really, really strong card against any other Mega Pokemon in the game, because once Charizard Y gets set up, you're never going to be able to bring in your own Mega, because it'll just get KO'd and then the game is over, right? One thing is going to be really interesting is the Charizard, Mega Charizard Y mirror matchup when this comes to the game. It's basically going to be who can force their opponent into their Charizard first, right? And that's going to be definitely kind of unique. It's going to be a kind of a funny way to play the mirror matchup for sure. But I do think Mega Charizard Y will be relevant, right? And yes, I think that the HP that you have after you attack is still enough. Like what Pokemon in the game is hitting for 170 or up to 190? Like not really much, right? And if you do KO and then you don't win the game and they come into an attacker and attack you, what we can do is also just Lily and then heal 60 and then just attack again, and we can just keep attacking. And that's the whole concept here. Mega Charizard Y, when it's fully set up, is going to be absolutely devastating. The only times I don't necessarily see this card being that good are going to be into things like Oricorio, right? And that's sort of the thing here with Mega Charizard, is that you know, it's not going to be able to do any damage to Oricorio, which is tough. So we're going to have to probably play like a non-EX Charizard in our deck list, which might make things a little bit awkward, just like Decidueye does. But I don't think we have that many great options, right? So we'll have to just see, you know, how that all kind of pans out for Charizard. But I think that this card is likely going to be very, very relevant. Now, they did show Charmander here, 60 HP, does 40 damage. However, I'm going to go ahead and segue, because what you guys might not have seen, because I don't think it was in the trailer, but has been leaked, is Charmeleon. So this came out in a sort of a leaked image here for the, what is it, what is this, the cover binder and display drop have been revealed as part of the premium shop, right? So they leaked this image here, which actually did showcase Charmeleon. And this is very important. This is going to be sort of the main context of this video that I think you guys might learn something about. So here is Charmeleon, and Charmeleon is crazy. This is a new Charmeleon card, 80 HP, but it has the ability Ignition. Now, this is a really big deal. Ignition reads that once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may take a fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to your active fire Pokemon. Now, if Charmeleon is in the active spot, then you will be able to attach the energy to it. So this is kind of like a little baby Stoke. Once you evolve Charmeleon, you're going to be able to attach an additional energy. Now, keep in mind, going second, this is very strong, right? If we evolve Charmeleon on our second turn going second, we end the turn with 3 energies, which means that on the following turn, we can evolve into Charizard and hit for 40. And that is a big deal. But even if Charmeleon is being evolved on the bench, we're going to be able to utilize that extra energy and attach it basically to whoever is in the active spot. And with Flame Patch, we're able to reuse that energy, which is really efficient. So let's think about in the sense that maybe we're playing Mega Charizard with Moltres, just like we played Genetic Apex Charizard right back in the day. You could actually go ahead and then play Ignition to get the energy onto Moltres. Let's say we are going first on our second turn, and then we can attach that energy for the turn to Charmeleon, and now we basically just +1 energy, right? So as long as we have a Pokemon in the active spot that is going to be, you know, useful to have that energy, if it's going to take energies, like if it's not a baby Pokemon, then Charmeleon's going to be really good, because whether we retreat with that Pokemon from the active spot or it gets KO'd, then that is going to directly lead us into being able to basically go +1 energy at some point in the game with Flame Patch, which is a really, really big deal. So Charmeleon is really, really strong, and I think that it actually changes my opinion about Charizard a little bit, right? Having free +1 energy is a really big deal, especially with things like Magby in the game and Moltres in the game, which can generate additional energies anyway. And this is different than Genetic Apex Charizard, right? Because once we get the energies on Charizard, we're ready to go, and it's all over, right? So I really do like this. And I think that if we were to play this with Moltres, even though that doesn't really help us out with Oricorio, it is going to allow us to commit energies to Moltres specifically a little bit more consistently, and I think that is a really, really cool deal. The other thing I really like about Mega Charizard is Entei. Think about it, right? Additional energies on Entei. Entei is a Pokemon that doesn't deal a ton of damage, but when you get like 4 energies onto it, it's kind of broken, right? So let's think about that for a minute. We can, you know, double evolve Charmeleons on the bench, right? And then all of a sudden now we're turn 2 with 4 energies on Entei, right? And then we can bring those back to Charizard when Entei goes down with Flame Patch. So this Charmeleon is a massive deal, both with Moltres, both with Entei, or any other lead Pokemon in the active spot. So I really do like Charmeleon, and I think it's drastically a bigger deal than people might think. It's also just free energy. So like even if like Charizard isn't the main core of the deck, we can still play Charmeleon, and it's basically going to be able to be used to power up any fire type Pokemon we could be using in the active spot, which is just a big deal. Charmeleon is a broken card. This card is crazy. It's basically like Magneton, except you can choose which Pokemon you want to attach that energy to or accelerate that energy to. So this Charmeleon might be news to you guys because it wasn't officially shown in that trailer video, but this is a massive deal, and I think it's going to be a really big deal for Charizard. Now, this leads me to the main point of this video, because again, a lot of people are going to look at these 3 Mega Pokemon and they're going to take them at face value and say none of them are that strong. However, the Charmeleon has been leaked. What is stopping us? Okay, so like if Charmeleon has a broken ability like this, what's to stop, you know, Ivysaur and Wartortle from having the same type of broken ability? Maybe it's not the exact same ability, but something that is really, really powerful. And that's, I believe, the trend here that we're missing, and at least some people might be missing if you're watching this video. I heavily believe that this is going to be a set where these 3 Mega Pokemon are defined by their middle evolutions, their new middle evolutions, which will be drastically buffing the overall strategy here. And I think that is a massive deal. Now, we don't know. We haven't seen Ivysaur yet. We haven't seen Wartortle yet, but I honestly, I would be shocked if neither of them had, you know, a broken ability like Charmeleon does, right? So that's, I believe, the progression, you know, and there was definitely something up about these Mega Pokemon, right? We'll get into Venusaur and Blastoise in a little bit, but they seemed a little bit too simple. It's like, okay, like they're just a lot, like we need a lot of energies and, you know, we deal a lot of damage or whatever, like kind of cool, right? I mean, kind of not really. So I believe the middle evolutions are going to be the secret there. We've gotten Charmeleon leaked already, and I believe once we see Ivysaur and once we see Wartortle, it'll all make sense to us. So very, very exciting. Anyway, let's take a look now at Mega Venusaur. Comment down below what you guys think the abilities of Wartortle and Ivysaur might be. I do actually have an idea about Ivysaur, but that's we'll save that here in a little bit. So Mega Venusaur, and the other issue here, and we might have sort of the same problem as we did in Genetic Apex, where Venusaur EX and Blastoise EX weren't bad cards, but they just never made sense to play because they both kind of lost to Charizard back in the day. And we might be seeing that. Venusaur here, Mega Venusaur EX has 240 HP with Leaf Cape. That brings us to 270 with double Lilligans. We're now at 310 HP, so keep that in mind. By far the highest HP Pokemon in the game. Retreat cost of 4 and attack cost of 4. However, this is double grass and double colorless, so this does open up a lot of opportunities to potentially be playing Mega Venusaur with baby Pokemon. We don't have a grass type baby Pokemon, right? But we do have Pichu, we have Mantyke, we have Magby. And we've seen some Oricorio stuff paired with Pichu and a variety of other decks. Maybe we play it with Venusaur. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, Critical Bloom, 2 grass, 2 colorless, 120 damage, so not that much damage there for 4 energies, but your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and asleep. And this attack is actually stronger than I think people consider at face value. 240 damage attacking twice, which means we are 2 at KOing basically anything in the game, barring any healing or anything like that. But the poison is actually ticking at the end of your turn as well as at the end of your opponent's turn. So realistically, if we are attacking twice into the same active Pokemon, it's going to be 130 guaranteed. If the sleep does proc and they get stunned out for a turn, it ends up being 140. And then we go in, we attack for another 120, and all of a sudden we're hitting for 260, right? Which is a big deal. Plus, it's actually 270. So that's a lot of damage. Venusaur will be able to 2 at KO practically everything in the game. It is something that will get countered by Pokemon Center Lady. And unfortunately for Mega Venusaur, even with Leaf Cape, it is getting 1 hit KO'd by Mega Charizard. So that to me is the one glaring issue with Mega Venusaur is unfortunately, it just is going to get KO'd by Charizard. So we have to force Charizard into the active spot somehow. And then even then we have to maybe hope that maybe we have to hope that the sleep kind of sticks, right? So into Charizard, I don't obviously love Mega Venusaur, but I think this card actually has a decent amount of potential. There is a new item card that is put into the game to specifically buff these grass-type Pokemon, and all grass-type Pokemon, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, but I do like Mega Venusaur. We can actually attach the heavy helmet to this thing instead of Leaf Cape if you wanted to, and take 20 less damage. That might actually be better than Leaf Cape, because, you know, if you're facing Charizard, it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, interesting nonetheless. I do think that this Pokemon is not that bad. That's my straight up like my feeling about these cards. And again, you got to keep in mind that all 3 of these you can use with Lily. So, you know, Venusaur going up to 310 HP, healing for 60 in a turn with Lily is kind of crazy. Definitely a little bit insane, right? So we're going to need the Lilligans to live a hit from Charizard. That is for sure. I think Charizard's likely going to be the only one of these 3 cards that really sees that much play, unless, you know, it just gets bodied by Suicune. We'll really have to wait and see, because there's some potential for all of these cards, but I think that Venusaur specifically is not going to be able to deal with Mega Charizard very well. But I think this card is really interesting. Now, to my point, I think that Ivysaur will likely also have a broken ability. Now, What could that ability be? I don't really know. Maybe it is also able to accelerate energies, but we do have a new item card, which we're going to pivot to here, which is the Quick Growth Extract. A very interesting looking card here, but it says choose one of your grass Pokemon in play and put a random grass Pokemon from your deck that evolves from that Pokemon onto that Pokemon to evolve it. And you cannot use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So basically what this means is that this is a way to find the next evolution guaranteed, but we can't do it on our first turn, so it's not like boosted evolution Eevee. Keep in mind, you can only evolve grass Pokemon into grass Pokemon, so this actually does not work with Leafeon. It only works for like, because Eevee's not a grass Pokemon, so the Pokemon you're evolving has to be grass and it has to evolve into a grass type Pokemon. So unfortunately, Eevee and Leafeon can't utilize this. That would be kind of broken to guarantee Leafeon on your first turn with boosted evolution Eevee. I understand that, but I think what this card is doing is basically making grass decks overwhelmingly consistent, right? Because let's just say, you know, we are playing Mega Venusaur. We can play double Bulbasaur, double Ivysaur, double Venusaur, play double Rare Candy, and play double Growth Extract. And then realistically, we're always going to be able to get into an evolution Pokemon virtually every turn, no matter kind of what cards we have. So Decidueye is another deck that might be able to utilize this. This is not a card that's going to allow you to skip evolutions, right? Just by the wording of this card. So if you want to go from a stage 1 to a stage 2 Pokemon, if you want to go from a basic rather to a stage 2, you still have to rare candy. But again, I think that the trend here for this set is going to be about middle evolution. So I don't even think any of these decks that we're playing right here are going to fully want to even use rare candy, which is important because think about the metagame right now and think about how, you know, rare candy is affected currently by Chingling, right? Think about how important Chingling is. This is an item card. It'll also get locked out by Chingling. But if middle evolutions are super relevant in the metagame, then of course, you know, Chingling's going to be less relevant. And I think that's definitely very, very, very interesting. Something that we need to keep our eye on for sure. I think that Ivysaur, along with Quick Growth, could maybe have an ability that it will perhaps allow it to maybe even evolve like on the next turn or something. Like, I don't know. I could see Ivysaur's ability being broken kind of like Charmeleon's, and if we quick growth extract, you know, our Bulbasaur to go into Ivysaur, and then we can immediately use that ability, then that's really, really cool. So this card has a lot of potential. But again, I think that most grass Pokemon in the game right now are stage 2 Pokemon like Decidueye and whatnot. So I don't really know where we're going to be using quick growth extract. At face value, this card seems broken, but I also don't know if it's even going to be worth playing because Chingling still is going to lock this item out. And at the end of the day, we're probably going to want to just rare candy anyway, because that's the whole concept of the current metagame, right? But Chingling, I think that's the idea that the developers are trying to do right now, right? They're pushing stage 2 Pokemon, but they already gave us Chingling, and now they're giving us sort of these buffed middle evolution Pokemon. I think they want the game to slow down. I think they want, you know, these middle evolution Pokemon to, you know, still be strong, but not require rare candy. And I think that's sort of the idea here. These are all Pokemon that have high energy in their attack cost. I would not be surprised if they all had like energy accelerating abilities in their middle evolutions, which kind of forced you to use the middle evolutions anyway. That way, if you rare candy and you skip them, you're never going to have enough energies, right, to use the actual attacks of these Pokemon. So keep that in mind. That's just my concept there. And that's Venusaur, and that is the Quick Growth Extract. Next up, let's take a look at Mega Blastoise EX. 230 HP, so he is a big boy as well. Big man Blastoise. Triple Bombardment, retreat cost of 3, weak to lightning, does 130 damage for 3 energies. And if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra water energies attached, so 6 water energies, then this attack also does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And it does sound like you get to choose. And I don't know exactly what that means, but I assume because it says 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, I guess we can like stack the 50 damage. We can only choose 2 Pokemon and deal 50 damage to each of them. This is a very strong attack, but 6 energies to use this attack is absolutely out of left field. And I understand why they're making these water Pokemon a little bit hard to utilize. Mainly because we have things like Manaphy, we have things like Mantike, we have Misty, we have the new Jellicent. There is so many ways to accelerate water type energies that a big payoff like Mega Blastoise might be worthwhile. And again, this is a 230 HP Pokemon that can access Lily and Irida if it wants to. So this is a Pokemon that can sweep through games. Maybe we do get lucky, we get 2 or 3 heads on a Misty, and all of a sudden the game is over. Unfortunately, you will be getting 1-hit KO'd by Charizard, so keep that in mind. I like Mega Blastoise. This card could be good. It really just depends on like how worth it is to invest our entire deck. in getting all of those energies onto Mega Blastoise, right? Because when you're building a deck that's all about accelerating energies, then you sacrifice a lot of the other consistency that's kind of needed to make that deck function, right? Things like Cyrus, things like Red, things like Copycats, and all this other stuff that people like to play in their decks, the Rocky Helmets or whatnot. Blastoise might be strong enough, whereas like Mega Gyarados really wasn't. Mega Blastoise might be strong enough to kind of operate on its own, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, it's definitely a card to me that really just depends on whether it's worth it or not, right? And again, what we've seen is that, you know, all of those Pokemon, Mantike, Manaphy, and whatnot, they can't deal with Oricorio, and that's the main issue with these Water-type decks, is that, you know, if the only Pokemon in our deck are energy accelerating Pokemon and Mega Blastoise, we have nothing in our deck to play against Oricorio with, and we're also weak to Lightning anyway, so that's going to be an inherent issue with this deck for sure. But we don't know what War Turtle looks like. Maybe War Turtle just says, hey, here's like 3 free energies or something crazy, right? I mean, we don't know. But War Turtle and Ivysaur are likely going to have abilities, and this is Blastoise. I think 6 energies is way too steep in my mind. I really do. But for 3 energies, 130, I mean, that's very attainable, right? To get 3 energies on this Pokemon should be very easy. 130 is a decent amount of damage, but again, you know, Mega Charizard's just going to come in off the bench and 1-hit KO you, right? So that is inherently just the problem, I think, with Mega Blastoise, but, you know, it is what it is. Nothing we can really do here with Mega Blastoise other than just hope that piling up the energies works on it. So again, we don't know what the middle evolutions look like, but I do believe that's the theme of this set. That is the hidden sort of mechanic that I think a lot of people are missing. So if you're looking at these cards at face value, I understand your sort of assumption that none of them are that good. I think Charizard is good though, personally. But I understand you kind of thinking they're maybe a little bit underwhelming, but trust me, Charmeleon, it has a broken ability, and I believe Ivysaur and War Turtle will as well. It just doesn't make sense to me that with these other 2 Pokemon both having, you know, 4 energies and technically 6 energies in their attack cost, to not also have a broken ability like Charmeleon. So that's my assumption, and I think these are really just sort of a means to an end, which the middle evolutions are going to help us do, right? So yeah, I'm really interested about it. Here's Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Squirtle has 70, Bulbasaur has 60, Charmander has 60. So take that what you will. We don't know how much damage Bulbasaur does. Never mind, it does tackle for 20. I guess we have seen. So there you go. Next up, though, we do have a Solosis and a Trubbish, which was showcased here, which means we are getting a Garbodor, and we are getting a Ranunculus, Ranunculus, I forget how to say the name. A couple of Gen 5 Pokemon, some of my favorites, so we don't know what those cards are going to be like, but they are guaranteed. Next up, let's get into the supporter cards, because these are crazy cards. And oftentimes when a new set comes out, as we've seen, the most influential cards in the sets aren't always, you know, the cover Pokemon, right? It's kind of the same deal with Mega Rising, right? I mean, yes, the Megas were strong, but it was really Chingling and Copycat and all that stuff that really changed the metagame permanently. So anyway, here is Serena. Are you ready for this? Serena, put a random Mega Evolution EX Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Okay. All right, so we have targeted Pokemon Mega EX search is what we have. We have. Okay, so all right, so they just went ahead and did it. I guess is the reality here, right? Think about all of the decks that people play, specifically, you know, like Blaziken decks, or even Ampharos, which people don't really play. But think about Ampharos now. All of those Pokemon are searchable. We can now just search for Mega Pokemon. And to be fair, any deck that you play is only playing one type of Mega, like even Mega Absol. Like the ability now to just play a supporter and guarantee that we can just pull the Mega out of our deck is kind of broken. It really is. I don't think this is a card that's going to be that needed for, say, like Altaria, because Altaria is a stage 1 Pokemon, and oftentimes we're just going to draw it anyway. It almost always does have it, but honestly, I could see Serena seeing play as maybe like 1 or 2 copies, at least 1 in like almost any deck playing Mega Pokemon, because targeted search like this is absolutely ridiculous. This to me is just super crazy. So they're really kind of leaning all in on the Mega Pokemon stuff. Not that Mega Pokemon really needed any more support, but now you have a guaranteed card that searches for them right out of your deck, which is inherently just kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, right? So yeah, you know, now if we have Rare Candy in hand, we can just play Serena, grab the Blaziken, and we're off to the races, right? So it's gonna make Blaziken especially more consistent, but really any of the Mega Pokemon decks are just going to be way more consistent now with Serena. So nothing else to really say about it, but here you go. It's Serena. You can search your deck for an EX Mega now. We love that. Absolutely ridiculous. Actually insane. Next up is Clemont. Clemont. I don't know how to say the name, but I don't know how to pronounce the name. I didn't watch the anime at this time. But anyway, he's another supporter card. We probably are only getting, well, I kind of forget. Are we going to probably get 2 or 3 supporters? We might get 1 additional supporter card. I don't know. Maybe just 2 from the mini set. We'll have to wait and see. But this guy says here, it reads, put 2 random cards from among Magneton, Heliolisk, and Clemont's backpack from your deck into your hand. No, we do not know what Clemont's backpack is. That seems to be maybe a tool card, but we don't know what that card is, at least yet. However, it is searchable with Clemont. But being able to grab Magneton from your deck is crazy, okay? And you got to keep in mind, this says put 2 random, right? So if the only cards out of any of these that we're playing in our deck is to Magneton, i.e. like Oricorio Magnezone currently right now in the metagame, we now have a card that allows you to pull double Magneton out of your deck. What? That's crazy. That is literally crazy. Like, you're telling me you're going to just take Oricorio Magnezone, which is a top tier deck in the metagame right now, and then just give them the ability to search their deck for both Magnetons? What are we doing? What is going on here? What's weird about this card, though, is that you probably only need to run 1 copy of it because it'll grab both Magnetons out of your deck. But you oftentimes will want this card, so you might even just run double copies of it. Right now, Magneton plays double Research and double Copycat. I could see you maybe cutting 1 Copycat for this card and just guaranteeing the Magnetons. Like, this card is crazy, specific. It's crazy that they just gave us Magneton support at this point. Maybe we get a Magnezone EX. Maybe we do. Who knows? I don't know what's going on here. Maybe we get even a new Magneton. I don't know. But this card is insane. Heliolisk was announced, so we can reveal Heliolisk, but we don't know what the backpack card is, although I do assume it's probably a tool card. Heliolisk is down here. This thing has 100 HP and does 120 for 2 energies, and you discard all energy from this Pokemon. So not something that I really think is going to be that good, but interesting nonetheless. And we've already taken a look at Quick Growth Extract. QGE is what we're going to call this. But yeah, Clemont's insane. So, okay, so now like just thinking about the current metagame, now we can just search Megas out of our deck. Now we can just pull the Magnetons out of our deck. Like, what is going on here? So I don't know. Things are a little bit suspicious here. Very interested to see what kind of happens. But anyway, Clemont and Serena are absolutely insane. They're absolutely insane trainer cards. So whatever. What do you guys think of that? I don't know. We are getting a new Ditto. Copy a friend. Choose one of your benched Pokemon's attacks, except any Pokemon EX. Okay. And then use this attack. Use it as, use it as this attack. If this Pokemon doesn't have the necessary energy to use that attack, then this attack does nothing. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, right? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess you could play this with Charizard if you just happen to somehow get like 4, but you can't play, like, it doesn't copy EX attacks. So, like, what are we really doing with Ditto? I don't fully understand it. Like, Rampardos? Are we playing Rampardos Ditto? That could be funny, actually. It could actually be pretty interesting. I'm trying to think of like other Pokemon. Like, the cool thing about this card is that it adds a little bit of consistency, right? So let's say like this thing can just copy baby Pokemon, but this attack requires 1 energy though. So I don't think this works with babies. It will work with baby Pokemon, but I think we need the energy to use the attack anyway. I think is how that works, right? Because it says here, if the Pokemon doesn't have the necessary energy to use that attack, the attack does nothing, but this is an attack that costs 1 colorless. So we can copy like a baby attack, but we need the energy attached to Ditto to do that. So I don't think that's really what Ditto's for. This is gonna add some consistency to decks that kind of have like lead-off Pokemon, but maybe you don't want that Pokemon in the active spot. Like, to be fair, I'm looking at Ditto and I'm thinking like, what about like Decidueye, right? We can play Ditto and then lead with Ditto, but we have to commit the energy to it. So I just don't really understand what Ditto's doing here, other than maybe using Rampardos' attack. That's the only thing I can think of with Ditto. It's very strange, very, very strange indeed, and it cannot copy Pokemon EX attacks. And again, like Hydreigon, right? But the thing is, you need the 3 energies on Ditto to use the attack. So I don't know. I don't really know. I might be missing something here with Ditto. It is interesting, but I love the art, but I don't know if this is something that'll see play, quite honestly. I don't know. It's weird to me. We are getting Sunflora, which means we are getting a Sunkern card. 100 HP here, 1 energy, quick growth beam, 30 damage, but if Quick Growth Extract is in your discard pile, this attack does 30 more damage. So this will allow us to basically always hit for 60 damage on our second turn. Now, this card should not be underrated. Leaf Cape does bring this to 130. And going first, we can basically just pull Sunflora out of our deck, attach it to our Sunkern, and then attack for 60 damage and KO basic Pokemon. Like, that's actually kind of strong. Now, it is reliant on playing Quick Growth Extract, so, you know, you're going to have to play that, but this is an interesting card that does kind of pair with it, which is cool, right? Again, 130 HP with Leaf Cape, and we're hitting for 60 every turn. Like, that's not that bad. It's kind of an aggressive Pokemon. I do kind of like it, and again, it's KOing basically every basic Pokemon in the game right now. I do like it. I like Sunflora. I think it's actually a bit better than you might think. I don't know if it'll be, like, super relevant in the metagame, but theoretically speaking, it's not a bad leadoff strategy, right? I do like it. We'll have to see. Like, maybe Sunflora and Lilligant is a deck. Like, maybe we just, I don't know. You know, it's weird. Like, the Quick Growth Extract is something that I think they're going to be making cards specifically for, and we just don't really know what those cards are right now other than Sunflora, which is interesting. We're also getting a Spritzy, which means we're getting a Aromatisse, I believe, is the evolution version. Sweet Scent, heal 20 damage from one of your Pokemon. So I don't know. We're getting the evolution of it, I guess, is what's going on here. And we are getting some promos here, which we'll break down here as we go down. So upcoming events. This also gives us some idea of the timeline, right? The set will be the main pack until January 27th. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because we are getting another 5 to 6 weeks of you know, like a 5 to 6 week long metagame with really only this one mini pack to hold us over for that amount of time. So things might start to get a little iffy, basically, right? Depending on how much the metagame changes from this set, it's going to be tough, right? Because think about it. We had like 6 weeks for Mega Rising. Think about how long this season was. Now think about just adding one mini set and then going another 6 weeks. That's likely what's going to happen until B2 comes out, which is going to be probably a 2-pack set. And we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, January 27th. So that's basically going to be the end of this next season. And it starts on the 17th. So that is 40 days. We have 40 days of the season. For a month and a half, many events will take place with the chance to get rewards and a bunch of exclusive cards. The holiday campaign is coming December 25th through January 8th, special event missions to obtain rewards. We don't know what those are yet. And then the Mareep drop event from January 1st to 11th, a drop event that rewards Promo B Series Volume 2 booster packs in which you can obtain the Art Rare Mareep, which is a really cool card. Maybe gives me a little bit of hope for Ampharos getting buffed to some degree, maybe, in this set. We'll have to wait and see. This is the same Reap that we had, the rear kick for 10 damage, 70 HP. Heliolisk and Baniri Wonder Pick event. So we are getting promo Heliolisks and Baniri January 9th through January 19th. A Chansey type of Wonder Pick event with a chance to get promo Heliolisk and promo Baniri. And Gumi themed accessories. Shout out to Gumi. And then here, January 17th. So a month after the release of Crimson, what is it? Crimson Blaze. A month after the release of Crimson Blaze, we are getting the Mega Latios EX drop event. Or is this solo battles? It might be a solo battle event. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a drop event. But anyway, Mega Latios EX. So let's take a look at Mega Latios because, oh man, this card is horrible. This card is so bad. Anyway, Mega Latios. This is a promo Mega EX card, just like Mega Pidgeot, which nobody's ever played. 180 HP basic, which is kind of a lot. It is a dragon type here. And it has the attack, just simply the attack. No weakness, and then we don't know the retreat cost. But the attack here, Sonic Impulse, 160 damage for 2 waters and a psychic energy, and discard all energy from this Pokemon. I think at this point, it's kind of a meme. Like, if you're a dragon Pokemon and you're a promo Pokemon, you have absolutely no hope of being meta viable to any degree. This card is absolutely abysmal. Absolutely horrible. This is perhaps the worst card I've ever seen in my entire life. Yes, we can use Mantike to power this thing up, so that is something. But what happens, like, we discard all the energy from this, and we have 100, we're going to get absolutely destroyed. How are we going to do anything with Mega Latios? This might be the worst card I think I've seen in quite some time. This card is so bad. Absolutely unfortunate to all of the Mega Latios fans out there, but this card is not good. Absolutely abysmal. Shout out to Mega Latios. I don't even know what to say about that. That's how bad that card is. But anyway, yeah, new accessories as we see here with the premium shop. And that is where that the Charmeleon was announced here. I'm tired of Charizard shilling. Yeah, listen, get ready because we have Charizard X that's still going to come at some point, right? So be ready for it. But that's everything that's been announced so far. And again, you know, the leaks, the data mines and stuff will probably come out, I don't know, maybe a day or two before the set releases. And the set, so today is what, Thursday? The set is set to release on Wednesday of next week. So you're going to want to stay tuned. And whenever we get that information, you know, we'll kind of keep you guys covered, right? And we'll let you guys know as all of the information comes out. But yeah, that's sort of the big thing, right? So, you know, we have Serena, we have Clemont, we have Quick Growth Extract. Sunflora is kind of a meme here, but then we have the 3 new Mega starter Pokemon. Charmeleon to me is the biggest sort of little hint that that is sort of the theme of the set, is that the middle evolution Pokemon, the stage 1 Pokemon, Charmeleon, Wartortle, and Ivysaur are all going to have broken abilities, and you're not actually probably even going to play these with rare candy, so keep that in mind. A very different way to play Pokemon than what we have currently in the season, which are all either rare candy decks or just non-stage 2 Pokemon. So very interesting, very, very interesting. I'm curious to see what happens here. I do think that some of these cards will definitely be relevant in the metagame. Probably Charizard is the one thing that I'm kind of assuming. But again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be fun to play stage 2 decks and not really have to worry about Chingling. That does sound fun to me, but you know, we'll have to wait and see, because if we're playing middle evolution Pokemon, then that takes up like 6 spots in our deck, which is already a lot. So gonna limit deck building a little bit, I would say. Anyway, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. What did you find interesting here? What do you think is going to be coming? I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to register for the tournament this weekend. $100 in the prize pool and a full art Professor's Research. If you guys want to go ahead and get a chance to win that Professor's Research, I would heavily recommend participating. Going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let's get out of here. Peace out. Have a good one. We'll see you guys later. And yeah. Bye.